Okay, maybe I can program some new API at any point. So anyone can tell me which scenario is synchronous and which is asynchronous? You can put that in the chat. Okay, so yeah, you're right. The first scenario is synchronous, right? And the second one is asynchronous. I know that this is something that probably is easy to understand, but believe me, some people right now don't know what is asynchronous and what is synchronous. So I love this scenario, and wherever any people or person come to me, I use it because I think it's something easy to explain you. Okay, now let's talk about synchronous and asynchronous in terms of services. The synchronous communication, let's consider the current client architecture, where a client sends a request to a server and then waits for the response before proceeding. So here we're talking about, for example, the most common use case is an API, right? I'm a person that I want to know the schedules of the flights, then I use my application and I try to get a response, right? I mean, I will travel to Canada from Mexico and I need to know which flights are available. In the first scenario, the API will check in a database, and the database will give a response, and then the database through the API will tell me the available flights. But this is synchronous, okay? Now, what is asynchronous communication of terms of services? There is a subscriber, there is a producer, there is a broker, and there is a subscriber, right? So all the systems are putting all of message in the broker. Could be any kind of broker, any kind of platform like Kafka, like Confluent, like AnyPointMQ, whatever. Okay. So me as a producer, I'm creating this kind of object and I'm putting that message into the broker service. And then as a subscriber, I will pull those events. The main difference here is that I don't need to wait to the response. I will subscribe to the broker and the broker will let me know when the message is available, right? This is the main difference. And believe me, guys, most companies are using this because it's freeing some resources in terms of the service. So I think that this kind of communications as synchronous EDA will be more popular in the next few years. Okay, so with the synchronous, we have the Swagger or the OAS, the Open API specifications files through Swagger. If we are talking about MuleSoft, we have the RAML file. That is a kind of, I'm describing the contract to consumer API, right? So I will get know which are the resources available in the API, which will be the payload request that I need to send, which kind of security is using is being used by the API, and if there is an OAuth flow, I will get know through the specification if we are using the good practices, right? But what about events? About events, how I can get know which is the name of the topic, the name of the event. How can I get know which is the payload that I will receive, or how can I get know which kind of security or protocol? Because talking about event-driven architecture, there is a lot of protocols like EMQQ, JMS, MQ, Kafka. There is a lot of protocols, right? So for that, now we this is not something new, okay? So the Async specifications was delivered a few years ago, and but is the counterpart to the Swagger files or the RAML files. It's about the discoverability of the systems or persons that wants to consume message using asynchronous patterns, okay? So what are the advantages of async specification. Async specification is open source. That means that it's agnostic to each platform, and is a project that is contributed by a lot of persons that are interested on the growing of this. So that's important. It's protocol agnostic. Right now, it's supporting a lot of protocols that is related with the EDA. It's platform agnostic because it's open source. It is not owned by MuleSoft or owned by Oracle or other kind of products or platform. It's useful to describe. This means that, as I said in the last slide, I don't need. It's an easiest way and it's human readable, to get know what I need to consume. How I can consume, what is the topics or the events that are stored in the broker service. And right now, because this is an open source, there is a lot of tools available in the market. One of them is MuleSoft is Anypoint that is supporting async specifications from the last year or of the last 2 years. I don't have the correct date right now. But let's talk about MuleSoft and async specifications. We can use the Anypoint designer to document all those async specifications, like a documentation. So one of the most important difference between async specifications in other tools and MuleSoft is that I can have the combination of some advantages. In the RAML we have the traits, and we can reuse some data types. And if you don't know, when we are creating an API using Swagger file, the data types should be on the same file. So we have a large file. So in RAML, the one of the main advantages is that I can create the data type separated to the file, and then I can reuse that data type. So we have the same advantage here. In async specification, I can create my data types as traits, and then I can reuse them in any point. So this is for reusability also. And then I can reduce my implementation times because I have using these advantages. So at the end, we have discoverability through the exchange, because another advantage of use the Async API specifications through the Anypoint platform is that I can publish it in Exchange. So I am giving discoverability using Exchange. Me as a person of business team in the company, that I want to consume some event in some broker, and I can have my username in the platform, and I can get know which events are being created by the company. I can reuse them using Exchange. Governance and interoperability. This governance is not available right now, but MuleSoft is it's about to provide governance in the next releases of Async API in MuleSoft. MuleSoft is planning to put or to combine the governance module with the Async API specifications and the API manager. It's not supported right now, but the team is working on that. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. And what is the parts of the API specifications? Okay, so let's talk about that. Like in the OAS or the RAMN file, we have some important parts of the specification, and I will describe one of them here. So the first one is the ID. The ID is like the URN, or it could be a URL to get a unique identifier to my Async API specification. So we have the info. That's the part in where I will describe the title of the async specification, the name, some brief description. We have the servers or the brokers talking about EDA. As I said, we have the publishers, we have the brokers. The brokers is the systems that will be handled and managed of those messages, those events. So here in Async API specification is known as servers, right? And we'll talk more about that when we create the Async specification. So we have the channels. That means the topics that are being exposed by my broker. We can get the inventory topic, the orders topic, or maybe the sales topic, so I can expose that as a channels here in the async API specifications. Then we have the operation, because one thing is the topic, but as I already said, we have the consumers, but also we have the subscribers, right? Talking about the async API specifications, we can talk about publishers and subscribers, consumers, that is the same of subscribers, or producers, that is the same as publishers. Here we can get a little bit of summary of each operation. And then we have the message, okay? The message that is related with the channel, with the operation. In the message, I can have a headers, and the payload. That is pretty similar to the message talking about the APIs. We have the headers that are most commonly used by business data or some authentication data, whatever. And we have the payload, that is the main content of the message, the important part of the message. And if I want, I can put tags on some external documentation links. So this is good, because if I use the tags in some tools, you can filter, when we are talking about EDA, the number of messages are very, very big. So this is something that helps to some tools, this helps to some tools to filter using the tags. So in many companies, or many projects in where the EDA is being used, you can have 1,000 of events. So this is something that is helping you to filter and get the important events or messages that you want to retrieve and you want to use, okay? So, and at the end, we have some components that are being used by the right side of the right side of this kind of assets. So we have the schemas that is describing the header or the payload. We have the security schemas, that is something that you already know. Here you will describe which kind of security you will use. So we have the message part that is using also the schemas and is describing the message itself. And I can also put parameters to be this more hybrid. And I mean, I can reuse some schemas and some messages through the parameters. We have the correlation IDs, that is an important concept talking about async message, because through the correlation ID, I can know that this event or message that was triggered by the first system and already passed around many other systems that are subscribed to the broker is the same message. I mean, this is the origin of the message, and the message ends here, but I can know that this message already passed through many systems through the correlation ID. And we have the traits that is also about reusability, It's a concept very similar in RAML, but we have here in the async specification. So I have a use case in base, and this topic and this meeting is only to about the async specifications. I mean, I will describe the use case, but at the end, we will only describe 2 topics using the async specification in any point. So I have a customer that places an order through a sales application. The sales application is publishing the order details as a measure in a Kafka topic called orders. So in this second point, I already know that I have a topic called orders. Then the order processing service and inventory management service are subscribed to the orders topic to receive the order messages. The order processing service consumes the order message and process the order, then updates the order status accordingly to the processing process using the business rules, etc. And if the order can be fulfilled to the inventory management service, then this is notified to update the stock level accordingly. And then the order processing service publishes the updated status into a new topic or other topic called order status. So this is another important thing because we have two topics here, right? The orders topic and the orders status topic. If the shipping service subscribes to the order topic to receive the order status messages, and at the end, the shipping service consumes the order status message to prepare the order shipping and updates the shipping status accordingly. So this is the sequence diagram that is describing that I already told you. So the consumers place an order, the sales application publish the order. In the Kafka service, we have two topics, the orders topic and the orders status topic. And then the order processing service consumes the topic, the orders topic, because it's subscribed there, process the order, and publish the status of the order in the other topic that is called order status topic. Then the shipping service update update the stocks levels and consume the order status. If everything is well, the order is shipped. Okay. So I will go to any point because now I will explain you how we are describing those two topics that are in Kafka using the Async API specification. So we have my unique identifier here in a URL format that here I'm describing that is Kafka stored in Confluent, the name of my cluster, and then the application processes orders, okay? Then in the info part, I have the title that is processed orders, the version of this async specification, a little bit description, and the data of my contact because I'm the owner of this application, this specification. Then we are describing the servers. Let me go to Confluent first because I think it's important to see. I tried to use MQ instead of Confluent, but unfortunately I lost my MuleSoft instance that has MQ. So yesterday I had to prepare this using Confluent, but that's not the main goal of this meeting. So I have two topics, order topic and order status topic. I have two schemas in each of the topics. So those are the fields of the orders topic. That is the order time, the order ID, the item ID, the order units, and the address. That is another object that contains a few fields, like the city, the state, and the zip code. And in my other topic, that is called order status, I have only two fields, that is the order ID and the order status, okay? So I will describe this in any point using the Async API specification. Okay, so the first one is the server. Okay, so for the server, I can describe hidden servers, all the servers that are part of the same application. On this time, I'm describing one server that is related to the develop instance, right? But if I want, I can put here the QA instance, the pre-prod instance, the RTA instance of the production instance, okay? So this is my develop instance. A little bit description about this server, this instance. The URL, this is the URL that is exposed by my Confluent instance because it's Kafka, the standard port is 1992. And the protocol used is Kafka because I'm using Kafka through Confluent, but could be AMPQ, AJMS, MQ, if we are talking about any point. The advantage of this is that you can describe many protocols. And I'm using the security that is a Confluent broker security. So I will talk more about this when I describe the components of my Async API specification, okay? Talking about the channels, I have two different channels, right? That the channels, if you remember, is the topics that you are exposing through the broker. So I have two channels, the order channels and the order status channel. Sorry. So talking about the others topic, I have a little bit description here, and I have two main operations. Remember that because we are talking about EDA, we can be only two kind. You can select only two kind of participants of this: the publisher or the subscriber. That means the publisher is because you are producing the message, or if you are a subscriber, is because you are consuming the message, right? If I go back to my diagram, here I have the order topic and the sales application is publishing the order, okay? But the order processing service is consuming the order topic. So I want to put the bot kind of operations here. Okay, I have an operation ID for my publish operation in my orders topic.
Hey,
The,
Mariano.
yes,
Sorry to interrupt. I think the screen here is the text seems looks small. It's hard to see the writings
okay.
here. Is there a way you can zoom in on
Let
this?
me try it, but I'm pretty sure that yes, it's possible to do some. Let me try it.
Okay. In the meantime, while you're getting that going, are there any questions so far? You can feel free to come off mute, and if you have any question at any point, you can there's a raise your hand button there. That should um, give us an indicator that you have a question, or you can put it in the Q&A. All right. Okay. That looks good.
It's better now, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, that looks good to me. Yeah. Okay. That looks good.
Perfect. Sorry for that.
No worries.
Okay, so I'm describing here the publish operation of my topic, orders topic. In the bindings part, we're describing the protocol that I'm using, right, for this operation. As I'm using Confluent, Kafka with Confluent, my binding is Kafka. Talking about bindings for Kafka, you can only have two kind of properties here, the group ID and the client ID. And this is about or is regarding to the group ID. If you are using consumer groups in Kafka, if you don't send this, it's okay. It's an optional field. And talking about the client ID is about the application or the consumer that is uh, consuming this operation or publishing, sorry, this operation, okay? And then we have the message itself. Um, I will talk about this when I go to the below part, but this is the structure of my message, okay, using the schema. And then as the same as publish, I have the subscribe operation. I have my operation ID and it's pretty much the same. I'm the binding is Kafka and the message is the same because I'm publishing and I'm subscribing, but the structure of the message is the same. And talking about Async API specification, I can put custom attributes. A good practice is to start with the X letter. If you already knows about the good practices using REST interfaces, is the same. So you need to start with the X because it's something that is properly to the system, right? So message compatibility is an attribute required by Kafka, talking about Kafka. So when I say backward is that if I change my schema, my all consumers are protected. It doesn't matter because the backward configuration told me that I can't add new fields without modifying the existing fields and I can delete fields, okay? So that's the backward compatibility. And because this is something very custom to the Kafka protocol, I started this with X, okay? Um, Let me go to the order status. That is pretty much the same. This is my other topic, and is part of the channels because we are talking about the topic. I have the description of the topic, the operation ID, and it's pretty much the same. I have the binding. The unique difference here is the structure of the message, right? Here is order status, but in order is only orders message, right? So, and we can see that I have also the publish operation, the subscribe operation, because if I go back to my diagram, I need to publish the order status that is being published by the inventory management service, but the shipping service also is consuming this topic, okay? So the same, we have this Kafka property, that is the message compatibility, that is backwards. And let me reduce this, also the servers. And in the components part, we will describe the messages, right? I have an order message that is used by my orders topic. Here I am describing the schema format. There is a few schema formats. That's something that the tool is helping you if we talk about in terms of any point is like, let me delete this. Okay. I mean, the platform as in the RAML specifications is giving you the prefix and you can autocomplete with kind of schema format you're using, right? The content type of my message is application JSON. And here, as if we did this in RAML, I'm describing in a YAML format the payload object, okay? And my payload is an object that contains those properties. You will see it as an example in the documentation part. And here it's the same. I'm talking about some bindings that the binding is the protocol that I'm using here. And then I'm describing an order status message. About the security schemes, I have the Confluent broker that I'm using this on the server's part. Why? Because my Confluent Kafka protocol is being secured by user password protocol using something called SASL. That is plain and it requires me to send in an encrypted way the cluster API secret and the cluster API key. And I cannot scroll down because the zoom in. Sorry. But this is the security protocol. I hope you can see it. It's ASL underscore SSL, okay? So in the documentation, one advantage of the Nipod platform is that if, let me go back in my order topic, let's suppose that I'm a consumer that want to publish some messages here, okay? So I can, sorry. I can have mocking using the documentation part. And if you see here, for example, talking about HTTP, I can subscribe to this event. This is a proxy, so this is not really pushing any message to the final broker, but I can have an idea of how the message is looking. So this is the message, the order time, the order ID, the item ID, the order units, and the address object inside the same message. That is the same that I described here, okay? So once that I completed my definition, as we did, we were doing in RAML or API specifications, I can publish it to Exchange. This is already published. So when you publish this, you can see it on Exchange, and in the same way, you can put the life cycle of this specification. So if it's stable, you can use it through Exchange. So let me go to Exchange. And here I have my processed orders async API. As you can see, this is segmented or is cataloged as async API, okay? So right now, and I will talk about that, it's not possible to use API Manager with async API specifications, but it's something that it's supposed to be released by the MuleSoft team in the next releases. Okay, but this is my Async API specification published on Exchange, and that because I already published it on Exchange, this is discoverable by all the other teams in the company that wants to use this event. So I already explained this. And what is the future of async specification is MuleSoft. Right now, the last version of async specifications is version 3. In any point, the viable version is version 2, but it's supposed that in the next releases, we can use async in the latest version that is 3. I'm waiting for this feature, but it's supposed that in the future, we can apply the same API management policies to the async API. So this is to give governance, and it's supposed to be released in the next steps of this project in any point. And the other is the reusability of the async specification as connectors. It's not supported yet, but it's supposed to be supported in the next releases of this feature in any point. And that's all from my side right now. Thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I can answer that in the QA section. Thank you so much. Back to you, Mana.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks Mariano. That was really good. Are there any questions so far? Actually, to get the ball rolling, I think I have one, Mariano. If you can share your screen on in your specification, if you could you touch a bit more on some of those security components
Yes.
that you had there, and what those what do they those do? I think you had that way in Design Center, or you can. Yeah. So I think
The
yeah, the
security
bottom.
scheme is right.
Yeah, yeah. Could you touch a bit on the protocol and how
Yes,
those get
yes,
activated?
for sure. Okay, yeah, for sure. The security schemes is used to describe the kind of security that is being used in this in the servers. Okay, so talking about Kafka, Kafka in Confluent, because Kafka and Kafka in Confluent is a little bit different. The security that I'm using or the security that I'm describing here is that
Hmm.
um, I'm using user password. I mean, the type is common, but because it's Confluent, Kafka in Confluent, there are a few custom properties. That's the reason that here I'm using the x-configs, and then here I'm using this sasl.mechanism, and I'm explaining or describing that I need to send to the Kafka server in order to uh, reach or publish or consume the event. So this should be replaced by the credentials that the team gave me because this is something confidential, but I need to use this. And let me open any points because maybe make some sense if I explain using any points. I mean, at the moment of consume this kind of Kafka conflicts in a development time.
And the other thing is, so for the I know you have Confluent Broker specified there as one of the security schemes. Are they, I guess first the first question is I would imagine that I'm just new to this particular thing here. So you that's a particular format that documentation in, is that in the Async API docs, or is that under Confluent?
Can you elaborate a little bit the question?
So
Sorry, I
so
missed.
you have Confluent Broker specified there, type, user password, xconfigs. So that format, like that structure, is that like you got that, is that specified in a docs somewhere in Async API docs, or is that somewhere else?
Yes, I mean it's specified there, and if you, for example, I think the problem with this using the endpoint tool is that it's not describing in a complex way. I mean, is for example, if I go here and I saw the documentation, because it's a custom security. I mean, I think the MuleSoft team needs to elaborate this a little bit more.
Hmm.
But this, because I only say that it's user password, but I need to read it directly from the async specification to get know that
Hmm.
I'm using this kind of parameters. But for example, if I use this directly on Async API Studio, that is the counterpart, that is, as I said, something good of using AI specification is a tons of tools, right?
Hmm.
So for example, here is more explaining, right? It's the same specification, but the security protocol is being describing a little bit more than in the any point.
Are there any other types of security schemes that can be
Yes,
used?
yes, yes. I mean, I'm using this because that I did is to create a Kafka cluster, and in my Kafka cluster, I create two topics, and then I put an schema to my topics. But in order to consume this topic, I create an API key, right?
Right.
And this is my API key. So this is the key that I need to use, and I need to set here, right? My API key and my API secrets.
Hmm.
So I already opened any point. So for example, um, this is the configuration of Kafka, right? I mean, it doesn't matter if it's in Confluent or not. I'm using a specific protocol here. So as you can see, my connection is SASL, plain connection. That is the same protocol that I'm describing in my Async API specification. For example, this is my server. My Bootstrap server is the same server that I put in my Async API specification. This is my URL with the port.
Hmm.
But if you can see here in SASL plain, the username and the password, that is the same that I'm describing here. SASL password, SASL username is the API key and the API secret that is in my Comfort platform. And that's the reason why I'm describing that security scheme in that way.
Okay.
Yeah, another question?
Yeah, there's a question in the chat from Muzamil. He said, In if API manager does not support applying security policies, how do we secure the async API currently? It, so
Okay,
since
I think,
policies
yeah,
are not enforced right now, how are they?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now talking about implementation using async, I mean I'm participated in some projects in where we need to create like a combination of both. I mean, a MuleSoft implementation that combines the rest with async, and that's the way that we are enforcing right now that the feature is not available yet to use the API manager. I create like a proxy API implementation that at the end is using the Kafka event, but it need to pass as a normal API or REST API. Right now, there is like some companies or where we are enforcing this in a current projects using MuleSoft and Anypoint. Yes, it's supposed
And,
that in the next releases we will have the possibility to enforce the policies using the Async API directly, and that would be a good, a great feature. I'm waiting for that for some months ago.
mhm. Any other questions? Let's see. Going once, going twice, going three times. Okay. Yes, we thank you so much, Mariano, again for this. Uh,
For
just
sure.
it's really good to have this as EDA is a thing that most companies use. Actually, I I've I've worked. I've had the opportunity to work with a couple of companies on different projects that involves EDA, but it's still quite intriguing why Async API hasn't. I mean, although it's still it's still somewhat new, but compared to the other REST counterparts, but for some reason, I haven't really seen a lot of quite a number of companies adopting this to the fullest, and I wonder why. Do you have any insight from your perspective?
Well, yes, that I can tell you, Mana, is that I think maybe it's because a lack of knowledge of the EDA is not new, but it happens when we was using or migrating for SOA using SOAP. I mean, I know that because I pass. I mean, I have the experience of that, right? REST interfaces already had a lot of years in the market, but the company is still using SOP. Yeah, and whistles, right? But I think because it's a lack of knowledge. But I can tell you that for me, it's happening again. There is a transition that will take a few years to migrate from REST interfaces using these kind of protocols to the EDA. So I think we are right now on that phase. The companies are starting to see that they can save a lot of money using real-time integrations with EDA, and the lack of knowledge is a little bit less than in the past. So, I mean, according to my experience, I can tell you that more companies are starting to use EDA, but it's not new. It's not something new. I think
Mhm,
APIs has around 2 years in the market. EDA has around 3 years in the market, but for me, it will replace it as REST interfaces starting to replace the whistle with SOP. So, I mean, for me, we will happen again.
mhm. Okay. All right, let me switch back to my slides and then we'll round this up. Uh, Let me share my screen again. Where is it? Okay. All right. So the slides will be shared on as usual on the meetup page on this MuleSoft on this particular meetup event page, so you can check back if you're looking to see the find the slides. And I think uh I don't know, Mariano, are you is there like a Git repo or no for some of what you had there?
No, for that I did for
Okay.
this meetup. I can create it and I can give you the links into my GitHub repository, and then you can share it.
Hmm.
And that I can give you right now is some links for the async specification project. Let me copy in the chat.
Hmm. And yeah, you can also I think we'll kind of connect after this, and you can share that with me via email so I can like put all that together and just send it to everybody in just one
Yep.
message. That'll be helpful. Thank you. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, if you found this insightful, if you learned anything, please give show some love to our speaker. Give a kudos on LinkedIn. Think you can uh, find his LinkedIn. You find him on LinkedIn there. We do have a meetup, uh, an Instagram page, an Instagram account, which has been stale for a while now, but we do put anything that is ongoing, and especially we have a couple of things lined up for this year that we're excited about, that, and we want to again increase the engagement with the community, not just in Winnipeg but globally, but focus a lot in Winnipeg too as well. So yeah, we do have that handle, Instagram handle. Check out for watch out for that, as well as the feedback surveys that happens after every meetup. If there are any suggestion, anything that you think we can improve on, please share that, and that will be shared with me. And that's it. So far, so good. Thank you all for your time and participation. We do appreciate this, and we will see you next time. Yes, this was recorded, and the recording will also be on the event page, on the Meetup event page. So just when you check the Meetup event page, everything should be on there. Yeah, I hope this meetup helped and added some bit of value myself. I've been using and putting designing EDAs for the longest time. Not really used Async API as much, so this was quite insightful for me. And yeah, I also look to introduce this to some of the other organizations that I'm currently working with, and so it's really good. Thank you all, and we will see you next time. Are there any other last questions? Anything? Comments? Thank you, guys.
I think that there is some question by Jacob. Can
Yeah.
all REST APIs converted to Async API or only applicable to a specific use cases? Are there any cases where it's not best to go with Async way? Yeah, it depends on the case. I mean, answering Jacob, not all the REST APIs can be converted to Async APIs because you need to change all the architecture and you need to change how the pieces of your architecture is interacting between them. You know, it's not like, oh, right now I have a REST API and now it's async. No, you need to change all the backend integrations in order to convert your architecture from synchronous to asynchronous. So it's not only about the interface that you are exposing.
Mhm.
And if you had the opportunity to take the MuleSoft course about to the for the preparation of the integration architecture certification, they had one case in how you can transform from your current architecture that is synchronous to asynchronous.
Mhm. All right. I guess that's it. Mariano, I'll connect with you later via email, and to get it, that details, the slide deck. So I'll put everything together
For
and
sure.
have that on the page.
Yep.
Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate this. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
we'll we definitely will connect. Yeah, we definitely will connect because we can do some things also with Mexico City, a collaboration, Winnipeg and Mexico City. I think that'll be fun. So
Yeah, and you're welcome anytime you want to come here.
for sure, for sure, for sure. All right, thank you guys. I'm gonna stop recording now, and